Hi, this is a presentation for parents who have a son or daughter in the community camping and climbing class at Eden Prairie High School this spring. I'm going to talk to you about our optional spring trip associated with this class. The destination is Sawbill Lake Outfitters on Sawbill Lake and Sawbill Lake Campground near the Boundary Waters canoe area. There's a great website if you'd like to check out more about our destination, www.sawbill.com. It'll give you some more information about the area and the amenities and all that they offer up there. Our dates for this trip are Friday, May 20th through Monday, May 23rd. The purpose of this trip is to give our kids a chance to practice some of the skills they learned in the class this spring and also introduce them to the Boundary Waters canoe area. This trip is not required for credit in the class, so students who have a conflict during the dates of this trip and are not able to go will have an assignment Monday, May 23rd, and they should be able to complete this by the end of the hour. The destination is about a 5-hour trip, maybe a little more with a stop. We travel up to Duluth. From there, we travel up the North Shore to Tofty, Minnesota. Take a left at the Sawbill Trail. It's about a 50-minute drive up the Sawbill Trail to Sawbill Lake. And really very rural area, very wooded, very scenic as well, and very remote area. The campground that we'll be staying at has a number of sites. There'll be some other people staying in there while we are on this trip, and we like to just kind of grab some sites kind of right in the middle, keep everybody together. Each group will have a site that they're assigned, and again, we'll keep them real close. We'll have a number of chaperone sites around here too, so the kids will always know where the chaperones are. Near the parking lot over here is a Sawbill Outfitter right in this area. From there, it's just kind of a short walk down to the canoe access on Sawbill Lake. The view from the access looking north here, you can kind of see the lake. It's kind of a narrow, long lake, and about a 10-minute paddle up here to this area is where the entry point is to the Boundary Waters canoe area. The facilities at Sawbill Lake Campground include outhouses, which they also call vault toilets. Very clean for what you might think of outhouses. They work very well, and they're kind of scattered throughout the campsites. We also have water pumps, so the kids can get drinkable water right from the well. They do have showers. The showers cost $4 each, so kids who plan on taking a shower while they're up there just need to bring a towel and the shower items. They have laundry also, and if anybody has get some wet clothes, we can get them over there and dry them up for them fairly quickly as long as we do it within the store hours. They actually have a store that they sell a number of food items and equipment as well, and they have a regular bathroom that's open during the store hours. Just some pictures from the campsites. These are the vault toilets. Again, there's a number of them scattered throughout. They have men's and women's. The wells that they can get their water from look like this. The campgrounds are very wooded, a lot of tall Norway pine trees. Really a scenic area, very protected from the wind. The store looks like this, and there's a number of really helpful people that work there at Sawbill Outfitters that really do a great job helping our kids. The map of the area looks kind of like this. The number 38 represents the entry point, so that's right where we'll be camping. And some of the trips the kids will take will be just kind of right up Sawbill Lake and then right up the Kelso River over to Alton Lake. There's a short little portage back to Sawbill. That whole trip takes about 4 to 6 hours, depending how fast they paddle and how many stops they make. Other kids might want to take a trip all the way up to the northern part of Sawbill Lake and do some fishing and some sightseeing. Other kids will portage, about a quarter of a mile portage here to Smoke Lake, another quarter mile to Burnt Lake to do some fishing and sightseeing over there. One of the most popular activities is fishing. A lot of kids bring fishing gear and try different areas. There's a lot of places to fish, but smallmouth bass, northern walleye are some of the fish they might come across while fishing. Our itinerary for the first travel day on Friday, May 20th, what we're going to do is we're going to have the trailers and buses over at the north parking lot of the high school. And we'll have them there early. Kids can start bringing all their items at 7 a.m. So that includes tents, bags, coolers with ice. So basically everything they're not going to need on the ride up. they're going to load up here, fishing gear, everything. And so the kids will all be assigned to a specific bus. And so that trailer attached to that bus is where they'll load their gear. They'll go to school, have lunch, and then we're going to excuse them at 12:30. And so from there, they'll go out to the parking lot, load their bus, will take attendance, and try to be on the road by 12:45. With one stop around the Duluth area, we hope to arrive at Sawbill Lake Campground by 6:30 at the latest. Kids will set up their tents, tarps, get their campsites all set, ready to go. And then they'll also go over and get a canoe and have that ready for the next day that night. So we'll take care of all that on Friday. That leaves Saturday and Sunday, 2 full days for them to plan their trips, plan their activities. They'll wake up whenever their group wants to, make breakfast, plan a trip into the Boundary Waters. They'll take some portages, do some fishing, eat some lunch, maybe on one of the island campgrounds. Return to Sawbill Lake Campground before sunset. In most cases, it'll be well before sunset. Have dinner on their own, hang out around the fire, play some volleyball, and then at 10:30 we'll try to get everybody in their tents and make sure the fires are extinguished and let them get some sleep. Monday, May 23rd is the day we return. We'll wake them up early, 7 a.m., pack everything up into the trailers and buses, and at 8 o'clock we'll try to depart Sawbill. And with one stop for lunch and a bathroom on the way home, we hope to be home around 2 p.m. And from there, the kids will either get a ride home, or if they want to drive their car on Friday and leave it in whatever parking lot they have a pass for, they'll have a car there and they can go grab that and load it up and head home. We have about 100 kids that'll probably be on this trip. That's been our average the last couple of years. And so we have between 15 and 20 chaperones ready to go right now. So we'll have plenty of chaperones for the number of kids we have. We're going to give each group an assigned chaperone. And so they'll plan whatever activities they want with that chaperone. The chaperones will always stay with that group. They'll always be with them on the canoe trips, any other activities outside the campground, whether they take a hike or do some exploring, the chaperone will always be with them. And so these chaperones, some include teachers. We've got other people, former students that have gone on this trip before, but they're all knowledgeable of outdoor trips and outdoor experiences, and they can help the kids in any way they need. The trip rules that we have for the kids, and we'll explain these in great detail to the kids, but we don't want them to go anywhere alone. We always want them to stay with a buddy or group. Life jackets have to be worn at all time on the water, no exceptions. We're not even going to allow them to zip them down. They're going to wear them where they're supposed to be worn all the time. We have kids assigned to each tent, so we'll know who's supposed to be in each tent. We don't allow co-ed tents, and we'll do a visual check each night before they go to bed to make sure they're in the correct tent. We're going to practice fire safety at all times, so nothing flammable or explosive goes into the fire. We're going to make sure they extinguish the fires every night, make sure they keep them manageable at all times. And then we want the kids to put their name on everything. So we find a lot of items during and after the trip. So if they have their name on them, we can get them back to them right away. Since this is a school-sponsored trip, we don't allow alcohol, tobacco, or any controlled substances. And so all school rules will be enforced. And we're going to follow no trace camping guidelines, which means we put all garbage away and dispose of everything properly. We're going to inspect the campsites daily. We're going to make sure that they do their dishes every day, store their food, take care of their fires each night, and make sure that everything's waterproof before they go to bed. We have quiet hours of the campground. As I said before, we've got some other people in the campsite who are not associated with our trip. So probably the most challenging rule to enforce here. There's a lot of enthusiasm on this trip. So 9 o'clock to 7 a.m., 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. are quiet hours, and so we basically have to use our campground voices, which is just over a whisper. The kids don't need to cut anything down in the campground, so they don't allow any cutting of live plants. We've supplied them with firewood, so they shouldn't have to go seeking any wood for their fire. And so we make sure that they don't bring any machetes, any hatchets, any axes, or anything like that, because they don't have any need for those. We're going to encourage the kids to make good choices at all times. If they have any question about whether they're making a good choice, they can always ask, because we'll always be around. Like I said, we'll be checking on them all the time. We give them a little space, but from time to time we stop in and make sure that they're doing okay and have everything they need. There's a rules form, medical form, and permission form that we're going to email home to parents that needs to be signed by both parents and students. And so parents can make a copy of those forms, fill out the information, and then return that with the payment with their student to their teacher. We need to enforce our bus rules too while we're on this trip. So whenever the bus is moving, the kids are going to have to be in their seat. And we're going to try to keep the buses as clean as possible during the trip so we don't have to spend a lot of time cleaning before when we get home. We have some consequences too for breaking rules on this trip. Some of the minor consequences would be limited recreational activities, early curfew, and in some cases we may have to relocate a group to one of the chaperone campsites so we can keep an eye on them a little bit better. In severe cases where students are using alcohol, tobacco, any controlled substance, or do anything that would endanger anybody else on the trip, we need to call parents immediately and arrange for transportation home as soon as possible. So if we are not able to transfer or get transportation home immediately, we are going to call the state or the county sheriff or the state patrol, and they will take custody of the person who's in violation of that rule. So that's the consequence our administration supports and wants us to follow. And again, we will be in contact with parents immediately if something like this were to happen. I think we have a really good group of kids this year. I don't see any reason that we'd have to enforce any of these consequences based on the kids and how they've been so far. But good kids sometimes make bad choices. So we're going to emphasize, how severe these consequences can be. And we'd encourage parents to talk to their kids about this as well, and also help them, in their packing, make sure they have the things that they need. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. The cost for this trip is $100 per student. That includes transportation. The teachers drive the buses, so we don't have to pay for drivers to be on the clock the whole weekend. We have campgrounds, canoe rental, firewood that we pay for as well. We provide the kids camping stoves and fuel. And if there's anything that the students need, they should be talking to their teacher immediately as far as any supplies or equipment. We do a lot of trip prep for the kids with the kids in class, so they should know all these items, and they should have a pretty good idea exactly what to expect on this trip. And so we're going to practice these till we get it right, because we want to make sure they have a successful trip and keep going back for more outdoor experiences. We want the kids to basically bring everything they could possibly need for this trip. It includes tent, sleeping bag, everything. And so if there's an item that they don't have, they should again talk to their teacher, and we can get them set up with something. The kids all have a list of everything, and we've started to talk to them about that. So they hopefully are starting to kind of think ahead a little bit and plan and do a little inventory of what they may or may not need. Again, planning for the trip, kids will do this in class. The list of equipment we'll email home to parents too, so you have an idea what we expect the kids to have. And the kids can plan this trip as a group, large group, small group, individually. It's up to them. One of the big things is we're going to always plan for bad weather. In the past couple of years, we've had rain. It's been a little cold. So we need to plan for the worst and make sure we're prepared, and that will make sure we have a really good time and a really good trip. A deadline for this trip for signing up is May 6th. And again, these 3 forms and the payment need to be submitted to the teacher. If you have any questions, there's a number on this screen you can contact us, depending on what hour your son or daughter has this class. So you can email us. We'll be emailing information home to you. And feel free to ask questions. A lot of times kids don't always give you all the information. I understand that, having kids of my own. But if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask us. Send us as many questions as you might have, and we'd be happy to answer those. So thanks for watching, everybody. We're looking forward to a great trip with a really nice group of kids.